Sup you beautiful people. Hope you've had a fantastic day. Welcome back to another new episode of What If Naruto Was the Conqueror of the Shinobi World. If you guys enjoy this what if, comment down below and let me know. And go ahead and check out other what ifs in the channel after watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like, and also share this video with your friends. So now let's start this video. The morning sun's light was shining through the window into a bedroom where a certain blonde and snake mistress was sleeping. The blonde felt a weight over his body, slowly opening his eyes. He saw Anko resting her head on his chest. The blonde remembered what had happened last night. After their first round, the blonde and the snake mistress had gone on for 4 more rounds, until Anko couldn't take it anymore, and had fallen asleep. The blonde remembered the day he reached 13 years old. He got a surprise visit from Hashirama. At first, the blonde had thought the man wanted to talk about Naruto's plan, but instead, the wood user had explained to Naruto about the act of mating and that sort of thing. Without saying much, Hashirama had found it harder to talk about it than he had originally thought. By the end, he knew fighting Madara was much more fun. Naruto had asked if he was perhaps still young, despite knowing that by the law, the moment someone becomes a shinobi, they're considered adults, and someone can marry the moment they're age 16 years old. Not really Naruto, because you live in a village as big as Konoha. The age of marriage had moved up to 16. When I grew up, people died young. Therefore, in order to have alliances or just more people to fight, the moment you reach 13 years old, you were considered as ready to marry and have children, Hashirama explained with a slightly grave tone. He slowly got up from his bed, gently moving Anko away, leaving a pillow for her to rest her head, and rubbed his eyes in an effort to get rid of the sleepiness that lingered in them. He then slowly turned his head towards the calendar that hung on the wall next to his door. I hope I get Ino on my team, Naruto said as he finished getting dressed and went to the kitchen to make himself some breakfast. He wanted Ino and Shikamaru or Choji on his team. Shino wasn't bad, but he was just too quiet for his taste. Kiba didn't know how to shut up, and every word he spits out was idiotic. Ino liked him, and Naruto had to admit she had grown quite beautiful. Her will to train wasn't bad, with a slight push, and she might become a powerful kunoichi in the near future. He finished preparing his breakfast. It was a simple breakfast, only eggs and bacon. He still loved ramen a lot, but he decided to choose something else for breakfast to spice things up. Once he finished eating his breakfast, he placed the dishes in the sink and rushed out the door eagerly. Today is the day, hot, he heard a voice from behind him. Before he could turn his head, 2 arms spread from behind around his chest. His head had 2 very soft pillows, her fingers touching his well-defined abs, a moan escaping her mouth near his ear. Naruto felt himself getting a bit hard. Good morning, Anko. Have you slept well? Naruto asked innocently with a small smirk on his face. I have never slept so well. Usually, I wouldn't let you go before I have you one more time, but it is a bit late, and my job is calling, she spoke with a husky tone. See you later, Anko, Naruto said, preparing to leave. Still, Anko turned him around before crashing her lips on his. Her tongue forced her way into his mouth, dominating him, exploring everything. Naruto squeezed her well-developed chest, causing a moan to escape her mouth, his thumb caressing her nipple as she parted her lips, her eyes dark with lust. Later, as Naruto ran across the rooftops, and after a few quick minutes passed, he arrived at the door to the academy. Let's see how this goes. Let's just hope Sakura and Sasuke are not in my team, Naruto said, with a bit of annoyance in his voice. He walked into the building and quickly made his way to the classroom. Once he entered, he saw the famous Uchiha. He was sitting at the middle desk in the middle seat, just brooding away like the emo he was. The other person was Naruto's best friend, Shikamaru Nar. He was sitting at the desk in the back top of the classroom in the middle seat, and also, like the lazy person he was sleeping. Naruto made his way to the seat next to Shikamaru, and sat down to wait for everyone to come in. After an hour or two, all the kids that graduated the exam entered the classroom and took their seats. Ino soon came sitting right next to Naruto, greeting Shikamaru, who was sleeping, much to her annoyance, and Choji, who offered chips. When it came to Naruto, Ino gave him a small kiss on the cheek, much to the surprise of everyone and annoyance of every Naruto fangirl. Seeing the display of affection in front of her, Hinata felt her heart breaking. Has Naruto chosen Ino? She wondered. Not noticing Shino looking at her reaction before turning his eyes at the center of the class. Soon after that, Iruka came into the room and gained everyone's attention quickly. As you all know, everyone in this classroom right now has passed the graduation exams yesterday. It was an honor to be your teacher and teach you all the basics of becoming a ninja, and so now I'll announce your teams, Iruka said as he grabbed a stack of papers and started to list the teams. He started announcing the teams, soon reaching Team 7. Alright, I'll announce the members of Team 7. They will be Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno, and Choji Akimichi. Your Jonin sensei will be Kakashi Hatake, Iruka said as he read the paper that held the names for Team 7. Ha, in your face Ino pig Sasuke on my team, Sakura said as she turned around and faced Ino while making a face at her. Shut up, useless. I don't even like the emo, Ino said, annoyed, turning to look at Naruto before resting her head on his shoulder. His arm sneaks around her waist. Ino felt a jolt passing through her body. His hands felt good. earning a snort from Shikamaru, who looked away. If you're done, ladies, I'll continue, Iruka said, a little annoyed at the two girls. Alright, Team 8 will have Kiba Inuzuka, Hinata Hyuga, and Shino Apuram. Your Jonin-sensei will be Kurenai Yuhi, Iruka said as he started listing teams off again. You heard that Akamaru, we have a Kanoichi-sensei. I hope she's hot, Kiba shouted, looking up at Akamaru, who, instead of barking in agreement, shook his head at his owner. Team 9 is still in service, so I'll skip to Team 10. Team 10 will have Naruto Uzumaki, Shikamaru Nar, and Ino Yamanaka. Your Jonin-sensei will be Asuma Sarutobi, Iruka said as he finished listing off the teams. Naruto and Shikamaru looked at each other before high five. Naruto turned to look at his blonde friend. Ino looked shocked. She was in the same team as Naruto, the one she had fancied for so long. Naruto noticed her feelings were skyrocketing. A blush crept on her cheeks. Ino, this is awesome. You, Shikamaru. Naruto was interrupted when Ino suddenly jumped on his lap, capturing his lips on a lustful kiss. Grinding her body against his, Naruto felt her breasts against his chest. Her tongue forced her way into his mouth. A moan escaped Ino's lips. Naruto put his hands on her ass cheeks, causing her to moan louder. Ino felt her body engulfed in flames, the desire, the lust, unbearable anymore. What do you think you're doing? Iruka suddenly shouted from where he stood. Didn't teens know about privacy? Not everyone wants to see that. Ino's lips departed from Naruto's lips, a string of saliva connecting them, breathing heavily, her right hand on his golden hair, while her left hand was touching his abs under his shirt. Ino could feel her body was on fire, just his blue eyes made her knees weak, let alone his incredibly handsome face, his lips tasting like. Ino escaped her naughty thoughts, suddenly noticing that everyone was staring at them. She blushed in embarrassment. Iruka was shaking his head. Ino sat back on her chair, but still her head resting on Naruto's shoulder. Naruto chuckled slightly at her, his arm around her waist. He leaned closer to her. You should have given me a warning first, Ino, but for what it's worth, I really enjoyed it. He whispered softly to her. This caused a devil smile to grow on her face. She still felt her lips tingling from the kiss, her heart beating on her chest, and it didn't help that his hand was touching her naked skin around her waist. Students around the class had various different reactions to the public display of affection. Kiba gave Naruto a thumbs up. Ino was quite hot, but he had his eyes on another girl. Shino just raised an eyebrow behind his glasses. Sakura wanted to vomit at the thought of kissing Naruto, but at the same time she wanted to kiss Sasuke like that. Joji smiled happily at his friend for two reasons. Ino finally confessed to Naruto, and second, his mother could finally stop bothering him about talking to Ino, and try to become better friends. Shikamaru was simply sleeping, using his hands as a pillow. Hinata felt her heart breaking in pieces, her eyes welling. It took everything for her not to burst out crying. Her body started shaking as she started staring at the wall to her right, not noticing Shino looking at her with concern. After the situation calmed down, Iruka wondered where the small and innocent Naruto had gone. Well, maybe he was never innocent. Iruka still remembered the words Naruto said that day, and not just that day. The blonde had not missed one chance to shame the current program of the academy. Sadly, Iruka knew he couldn't do much or anything to change that. Coughing, he gained everyone's attention. There will be a lunch break now, and after that, you will come back here to meet your Jonin-senseis, and, until then, dismissed, Iruka said as he picked up his papers and bag, and left the classroom with the newly formed teams talking with each other, and leaving to go have lunch. Hot, oh hey Shikamaru, what's up? Naruto asked. I decided that we should all get lunch together as a team, Shikamaru said as he put his hands into his pockets. Okay, sounds good, Naruto said as he got up and pushed his chair back in. Ino soon followed beside Naruto. The blonde girl noticed the small glances the Hyuga was sending towards them. She wondered if the girl liked or maybe even loved Naruto. Why she didn't do anything about it. Ino knew Naruto had saved the girl when Kumo tried to kidnap her. That alone can make many girls love their hero eventually. Ino couldn't really blame her. Naruto was kind, strong character and strong in general, mature person, handsome, and unlike the teachers who always tried to tell a watered-down version of what it's like to be a shinobi. One time Ino asked Naruto more about it. He told her that as kunoichi, it was expected from her to kill, spy and do many things for the good of the village. After that, Ino had understood if she didn't truly train, she would fall like many others before her. She, of course, knew the way the snake mistress looked at her favorite blonde. Ino had trained with her. Anko had made it quite clear that she loved the blonde, from the way she looked at him, and many other signs. They had made it to the academy's roof to eat their lunch, and as they were eating, Ino asked a question. So what kind of jutsu, Shikamaru? Ino asked as she bit down on her food. Well, I can do all the basic academy jutsu and my family's shadow possession jutsu, Shikamaru said nonchalantly. Well, I can also do the basic jutsu, but I can also do my family's mind transfer jutsu. I also have slightly mastered the dance of Yamanaka taijutsu style. I also learned Phoenix Flower Jutsu, Point Cut Water style jutsu, she said. So, Naruto, what kind of jutsu do you know? Shikamaru asked curiously, knowing his blonde friend knew far more than he let on. Of course, Shika knew that Naruto was stronger than any teacher of the academy, but just how strong, this is troublesome. Well, I can do the substitution and transformation jutsu, I can do the shadow clone jutsu, I know Hachiman style, a style I created, Naruto said with pride at the last bit. But you can barely make a single decent clone, how can you make shadow clones? Shikamaru asked his friend. Well, since I have so much chakra, it's pretty easy to make them, I guess, Naruto said as he scratched the back of his head. Both Ino and Shikamaru looked at Naruto with surprise before Ino spoke up. Well, it's close to the time we meet our sensei, so let's head back, Ino said as she packed her stuff up. Once Naruto and Shikamaru packed up, the three went back to the classroom to meet their new sensei, and begin their journey as ninja. Returning to the class, Naruto didn't need his sensing abilities to see the looks almost the whole class was giving them. Many girls were glaring at Ino for stealing Naruto or whatever, while many boys were glaring at Naruto, since it was no hidden secret that Ino was one of the most beautiful girls in the whole academy. Some would say it is Hinata instead, but that part is just a matter of taste. Sitting down, the blonde noticed Sasuke was sitting at his usual place, breathing himself to death perhaps. As he looked at the center of the class, he thought of Kiri. The bloody revolution was still going on. He thought of a way to make sure to have contact with the army against Yagura, mainly made Terumi who was the leader. Naruto figured he could kill Yagura. With that he would gain the support of Kiri and the three-tailed turtle on his side. The blonde wondered what Itachi was doing. It had been a year since he got his last message from his big brother. I hope you're well, Naruto-kun. I don't have enough time to write a longer message so that it will be short. As you asked, the sun in Tsunade was indeed in the land of tea. I told her about the eyes. She agreed after I showed her the scroll of the Hokage. It will take 1 week, but it will be worth it. A shark is loyal, an immortal who can't die, 5 hearts replacing each other, an old doll of the sand, an explosive guy and a masked man pretending to be a dead man. Take care of yourself, little brother. Naruto had found himself surprised to realize that someone could actually be immortal. He wondered if there were any drawbacks to that. When it came to the masked man, the blonde knew who that one was. His father had told him about the masked Uchiha who attacked the village. The blonde didn't know who he was and didn't care. Once he got his hands on him, he would have wished that he was actually dead. The door opened, Naruto escaped his thoughts, seeing a guy with a beard, a cigarette on his mouth, followed closely by Kurenai. Team 10 in training yard 10 within 30 minutes, the man spoke. Kurenai called out her team. Seeing their sensei, Kiba stood up and yelled, our sensei is so hot, earning a growl from Akamaru, a tick mark from both Asuma and Kurenai. Naruto stood up, followed by Shika and Ino, leaving to reach training yard 10. Training yard. Reaching the training yard, Naruto focused his attention on the only other person present in the training ground. While the outward appearance of his sensei wasn't giving away much, the chakra of the person before Naruto was something he thought he should be able to place. Seeing that he had the attention of all 3 students standing before him, Asuma decided to begin. Welcome Team 10. I think we will start with introductions before starting with our schedule for today. I will begin, and then you will proceed to introduce yourselves. My name is Sarutobi Asuma. I like casinos, playing games and walking around, and I dislike disrespect and laziness. Here Naruto could see his sensei not so subtly looking at Shikamaru. My hobbies include smoking and training. My dream is to serve Konoha to the best of my abilities. Saying that, Asuma pulled out a pack of cigarettes, grabbing one. Seeing that his teammates weren't too keen on taking the initiative, Naruto decided to start. My name is Uzumaki Naruto. I like studying, forests, animals and training. My dislikes include arrogance, overconfidence, people who can't see the difference between water and a glass holding the water, and ignorance. My hobbies are training and reading. My dream is to bring an age of peace for the shinobi world. After finishing, Naruto looked towards his teammates to see who would continue. What he said made his whole team do a double take. Ino smiled warmly at the blonde, while Shikamaru smirked before murmuring troublesome blonde. Asuma, on the other hand, could see Naruto dream too much, and what he wished could even be seen as an impossible dream, but he was to be the sensei of him, so he would try to contribute. After a bit of silence, Ino cleared her throat before starting. My name is Yamanaka Ino. My likes are training and spending time with Naruto. My dislikes are cocky people, people who see others as less, those who judge someone without knowing them, people who betray their own family. My dream is to master my clan Kekkei Genkai, and help Naruto achieve his dream. After finishing, Ino looked towards the only possible that had yet to introduce themselves. After a minute of being stared at by his 2 teammates and his new sensei, Shikamaru sighed once before starting with his introduction. My name is Shikamaru Nar. My likes are sleeping, shogi and my friends. My dislikes are troublesome people, and things that interrupt me while sleeping. My hobbies are sleeping and watching the clouds. My dream is to become an average shinobi so that I have enough time to watch the clouds. Having finished his introduction, Shikamaru seated himself on the ground, probably because standing was too troublesome. Naruto could only shake his head when hearing this. He had never met a person as lazy as the young Naruto. Even for Nara's standards, he was a lazy one, and that said something. Since everybody had finished introducing themselves, Asuma decided to continue. Now that we know each other a bit better, it is time to start with the reason that we are even here. You see, well, you may have passed the Genin exam in the academy, that doesn't actually make you a Genin. It only qualifies you to become one. To actually become a Genin, each cell will have to pass the test that their sensei provides them with. In this regard, the senseis have a high amount of freedom in choosing how to test the team that they are presented with. So we will now have to see if you have what it takes to become Genin or if you will be sent back to the academy. Hearing this, the three Genin all reacted a bit different. Naruto got a determined look in his eyes. Shikamaru sighed once in annoyance. Why did he have to take another test? Wasn't one enough? Well, if he didn't want to have his mother angry at him, he should better get this done even though it was a drag. So Shikamaru got ready for whatever kind of test it would be. Ino wasn't sure about this whole thing. While she had trained incredibly hard with Naruto and Anko, she wasn't as confident in her abilities as she would like to be. However, she knew that failing this test was not acceptable, so gaining a resolute stance, Ino awaited further instruction. Seeing his students' expressions made Asuma internally smile before continuing. This test is rather easily explained. You are to retrieve a scroll from a small hut somewhere in this forest. This scroll then needs to be taken back to this point undamaged. I will be defending the hut and trying to get back the scroll should you manage to extract it. Understood. Seeing no questions needed to be answered, Asuma started the test. Very well. Start. After announcing the start of the test, Asuma once again vanished in a shunshin, leaving his three students behind to plan. Seeing that their sensei has left, Naruto turns to his two teammates. Okay guys, we need some kind of plan. Saying this, Naruto looked specifically at Shikamaru, who, when realizing that he was being stared at, only sighed in a manner that some would associate with great suffering, but was really just him expressing his displeasure with having to do anything. Okay, so if we are going to do this, I need to know some of your skills. I really don't know anything about our sensei. Still, we should be able to do this if we do our best. This kind of talk was a bit out of character for Shikamaru or any Naru really, but he had learned from his father that there was a place and time for being lazy and one for being serious. Seeing the truth in the statement, Naruto started followed by Ino, and at the end, even Shikamaru shared what he could do so that his teammates knew what to expect from him. At least that was Naruto's reasoning. Okay, guys, so this is how we will do this. Right now, Asuma was hiding in the branches of a tree next to the hut. He really wasn't sure what to expect from the team. He knew Naruto since Kakashi sometimes liked to state loudly a guy that his student would be the ass of everyone. The other two he didn't really know well. While he had read the academy records for the both of them, he didn't really give them much leverage. The academy, in general, was flawed to a high degree, especially if you asked members of Anbu. Because of the peaceful times, the quality of shinobi coming from the academy had dropped dramatically, since the civilian council had somehow been able to influence the curriculum. So he would have to see how the Ino and Nara era would do himself, especially in combination with the Uzumaki era. Naruto's strength was extremely impressive, especially for his age. The age could easily take opponents of Chunin level with the repertoire of skills that he called his own. Naruto. Realizing that they had come rather close to the hut that Asuma had designated as their target, Naruto signaled for his two teammates to stop. Deciding to simply keep it in mind but not mention it, Naruto turned towards Shikamaru. You ready, Shikamaru? Asked Naruto while looking at the Nara heir that was still looking rather serious. Yes, you can start, me and Ino will proceed with our part, he answered. Once more, nodding at each other, Naruto split off from the two and simply moved in the direction of the hut. Traveling at much higher speeds than before, Naruto reached the clearing that the hut was located in a few seconds. As soon as he left the tree line, Asuma-sensei appeared before him, seemingly just casually standing there, but Naruto wasn't buying it. Being a shinobi was all about deception, and he wouldn't expect friendly banter when he was, in essence, tasked to steal or retrieve a scroll. Letting a kunai fall into his hand from his sleeve, Naruto readied himself and stayed alert for everything. So you have decided to use the direct approach simply? Asked Asuma-sensei in a casual manner. Clone Naruto didn't let it bother him. He didn't reply and simply stayed alert. Seeing that he wouldn't get a reaction out of his student this way, Asuma decided to see how his student was able to fight. Using slow Chunin speed, Asuma appeared in front of his student and tried to lash out with his left hand, hitting Naruto on the head. Naruto had been ready for such an attack though, and since he was easily able to track movement at such speeds, he was able to jump backwards to dodge the hit simply. Seeing his sensei overreaching slightly, Naruto decided to try something. Taking out another kunai, Naruto engaged his sensei in combat, trying to get the upper hand through his use of kunai, whereas his sensei was still barehanded. Asuma immediately dogged the first slash through, simply moving with the momentum, and turning before then lashing out with his right hand for a backhanded attack against Naruto. Ducking under the blow, Naruto took the other kunai and slashed the unguarded abdomen of his sensei. What surprised Naruto was that instead of feeling no resistance because of his sensei dodging, he felt his kunai cutting into what felt like the wind. Looking down, Naruto saw that not a wound, but smoke coming out from where he had attacked. Realizing his sensei's identity and the fact that he had been fighting a bunshin, Naruto decided to put some distance between himself and the bunshin. He knew that elemental clones were generally much weaker than the real deal, so he had to be careful if the real Asuma wasn't here. He could be everywhere. Looking around, Naruto saw 2 more Asumas appear ready to fight him, both of which were probably Bunshin. His musings were interrupted by one of the Bunshin charging him with a kunai in hand, while the other started doing hand seals to prepare a jutsu. Throwing one of his kunai at the charging, Bunshin Naruto decided to deal with the jutsu first. Going through a short series of hand seals, Naruto whispered the name of his technique under his breath. Futon. Tatapa. Right after that, Naruto exhaled a strong gust of wind at the Bunshin that had just finished its hand seals. Believing that problem to be dealt with for a bit, Naruto focused back on the enemy that was now directly in front of him. Deciding to use one of the first things he had learned for Futon chakra, Naruto channeled the nature chakra through his kunai, thereby strengthening and sharpening the blade. With the provided enhancement, his kunai quickly cut through the one in the Bunshin's hand. The Bunshin, seeing the surge of chakra early enough to react, dropped the kunai and lashed out with its other hand. The thrown hook was caught in Naruto's other hand, who immediately tried to get further away, so he had some breathing room. Just when Naruto was about to jump away, he felt a surge of chakra to the left of him. Turning in that direction, Naruto saw what looked like a wind wave being launched at him by the Bunshin he had tried to hit earlier. Jumping back since he really didn't want to get hit by the wind jutsu, Naruto took out another kunai and aimed it at the caster of the jutsu. Hoping that the clone wouldn't immediately dodge, Naruto threw out his other hand that was still holding a kunai, while whispering the name of his technique, Futon. Rapushu. With that, a smaller and weaker but more focused stream of wind left his hand, speeding up the kunai, leading to the Bunshin not fully being able to dodge. The Bunshin was hit in the shoulder by the enhanced kunai, but didn't immediately dispel like the last one. Instead, the Bunshin pulled out the kunai and took it into his own hand, though the clone was visibly panting, a sign that it was close to being dispelled. The punishment of not being aware of his second adversary came in the form of a punch that hit Naruto square in the face when he turned back in the direction of the other Bunshin, leading to Naruto being propelled backwards into a tree a bit further away. Getting up while releasing the slightest grunt of pain, clone Naruto looked for the 2 Bunshin. Seeing neither of the 2, Naruto took his team to use the little bit of medical knowledge he had to dull the pain in his face. What damage had been inflicted would be healed almost immediately anyway, even if he did nothing. Naruto suddenly got the signal from another clone. Knowing he didn't have to waste time anymore, Naruto rushed at the clones with high chunin speed, taking them both by surprise, before Naruto sliced both of them in half, with his kunai enhanced with wind chakra. Shikamaru really didn't like the situation he was in right now. He and Ino had been fighting 2 Asumas since shortly after splitting up from Naruto. Right now, Shikamaru was barely holding down both clones with his Kajime no Jutsu, however, he knew he wouldn't be able to hold it very long. The 2 clones were physically strong enough to overpower his control of their bodies soon, and he was running out of chakra. The 2 enemies had simply fought them in taijutsu first, but Shikamaru had soon realized that the 2 were trying to tire them out. It had already been a bit too late at that point, though. His musings were interrupted by one of the adversaries breaking the hold of his jutsu with sheer strength, just like he had predicted. However, before the clone could do anything else, it suddenly stopped. Hoping to be right, Shikamaru took out one of the kunai that he still had thrown it at the immobilized enemy. The kunai, surprisingly to Shikamaru, hit its mark and took out the Bunshin that then reverted back to a water clones that dispelled. Turning towards Ino, Shikamaru saw the other Asuma behind Ino, ready to knock her out. Just when he was about to notify Ino, a chakra-infused kunai flew through the head of the Asuma from the side. This one did also revert back to water afterwards. Looking in the direction that the kunai came from, Shikamaru spotted Naruto jumping from a tree not too far away from them. "Are the 2 of you alright?" asked Naruto. After landing and picking up his kunai and seeing his 2 teammates nodding, Naruto decided to end this. Slamming his open hand on the grass, a puff of smoke suddenly appeared, the clone standing where Naruto had summoned him, holding the scroll that they were supposed to steal. Both Ino and Shikamaru smiled, seeing their plan had worked. Seeing this, Asuma was quite surprised to know that they had fought him head-on, jumping to distract him, but one thing Asuma noticed was the lack of trying from Naruto. Unlike Ino and Shika, who were panting, Naruto didn't look tired, while Asuma himself looked more tired than Naruto. Asuma mentally noted to ask Naruto later about this. Jumping down, he greeted his team with a smile. "Congratulations, you did very well. Since you passed this test, we are now officially Team 10. From now on, we will accomplish missions and train together. I will be tutoring you on general things and will be individually tutoring each of you. Should you have things to learn coming from your clans, you can come to me for advice if you want. Tomorrow I will evaluate each of you separately since I have seen you perform as a team today. After that, we will see how exactly we proceed. Meet me here at 7 o'clock sharp tomorrow." After saying this, Asuma left the training ground in a basic shunshin. Looking towards his 2 teammates, Naruto said, "I will see you tomorrow, Shika." After executing a small bow towards his team before leaving. After saying their goodbyes, Shikamaru also left the training ground. Ino followed Naruto since they needed to talk about something. While all this happened, the real Naruto reached a house. Knowing what was inside, the blonde walked inside. In front of him stood something that belonged to him more than anything else. He was a genin now so that he could pass the blood seal left by his father and mother. Tusan, it seems the name Yellow Flash might return soon. It's been over 3 months since Team 10 was officially recognized as a team. When Asuma claimed he was going to make his genins the greatest ninjas in Konoha, he wasn't joking. As a result, he had developed a training schedule for them to follow in between missions. They will complete at least 2 D-rank tasks every day on weekdays, in order to meet their quota of receiving a C-rank assignment in the future. After the missions are completed, they will return to their training schedule for the remainder of the day. This involves assisting them in increasing their strength, speed, and endurance. It was a regular activity for the young Uzumaki for someone like Naruto, who has been practicing since he can remember, and has a strong chakra monster as an ally, who is also continuously refilling his energy reserves. It was, however, a week of hell for his 2 comrades. Ino had been training with Naruto, but it wasn't quite as severe as his training with Kurama. Naruto recognized that not everyone had his stamina, so he attempted to be as patient as possible with her. Of course, she progressed with time and became into a stronger kunoichi than she is today. Shikamaru, on the other hand, was having some difficulty with his physical powers. He, like Ino, had little stamina, but he had the lowest when compared to her. Asuma had made it his particular duty to assist Shikamaru in improving and expanding his jutsu arsenal. In combat, the more jutsus learns, the more choices he has. It would be a pity to leave Shikamaru behind when it comes to his elemental training, especially since Asuma already understood Naruto's inclination for fire and wind, and Ino's love for water. Shikamaru was given a chakra paper by Asuma, who instructed him to channel his chakra into it. Surprisingly, the paper disintegrated to dust, demonstrating Shikamaru's affinity for the earth. Water is usually Inara's affinity because of its soothing and calming qualities, which explains why their shadows move so freely, and they seem to be sarlaxed most of the time. However, in other situations, a person's elemental affinity might be dependent on their own nature. Shikamaru's calm demeanor suggests he has an affinity with the earth. Asuma was pleased with the fact that his team's nature transformations are well balanced. Lightning is the only affinity that isn't present. Shikamaru was handed scrolls focused on the fundamentals since he still has to understand the basics. Before he could learn any jutsus, he needed to learn how to channel his earth chakra. Naruto received a few scrolls based on the new wind jutsus. The majority of the jutsus are C rank or above, and Asuma believed Naruto could manage the jutsu strength and chakra needs, since he was already a proficient wind style user. Tower of Hokage. Team 10 is currently in front of the Hokage, with Iruka and another Chunin standing alongside him. They just concluded their first D rank mission of the day, and the elderly Hokage was ready to give them another. The task was simple. Capture Tora, the daimyo's wife's cat. Tora has a habit of running away, thus it was a classic pain in the ass mission for new genins. She has proved to be very tough to trap, and once caught, she has a habit of scratching the living daylights out of a genin's face. Ino was the unlucky one, as she was dazzled by the cat's cuteness, and wanted to touch her immediately. However, the unfortunate lady failed to notice the cat's stinging claws, and injured a large piece of her lovely face. When Tora sprang free from Ino's grasp, Naruto swooped in and captured her before she could go. Tora, to everyone's astonishment, did not struggle in the Uzumaki's grip, surprising his friends and enraging Ino even more. Tora seemed to be fairly calm and nice when it came to Naruto. She even purred deeply in his arms while licking his whiskered face. Asuma reasoned that it may be because of his whisker markings, which make him seem like a cat. Tora was seized from Naruto's loving hug by the daimyo's wife, as soon as they arrived at the Hokage Tower. "Oh my sweet cat. You have been a very naughty girl, haven't you? But don't worry, mummy will make sure you will never do it again," the daimyo's wife says, but she seems to be squeezing the life out of the poor cat in her supposed affectionate hug. "I understand why the cat runs away so frequently," Naruto reflected, his face mournful. That cat is receiving what she deserves. But damn. I can't help but feel sorry for her now, Ino reflected, a half-satisfied smirk on his face. And here I was thinking the cat was simply a pain in the ass, but apparently she just wanted some space, Shikamaru reasoned, his eyes sympathetic. Team 10 then returns their focus to the ancient Hokage, as the daimyo's wife departs with a tearful Tora, begging for Naruto to rescue her. Congratulations, Team 10. Another successful assignment in your record. Now, if you desire for another mission, we do have numerous requests. Babysitting a lord's kid, repainting the fences of a merchant's home, or... Hiruzen's speech was cut short by Ino's irritated scream. No? With all due respect, Hokage-sama, these missions are total bogus. Babysitting. Fence painting. Capturing a fugitive cat. I thought we were ninjas, not fucking babysitters, said Ino after being struck in the head by an embarrassed Asuma. Asuma could only mutter, "Language, young lady." I agree with Ino, Hokage-sama. Not that I don't understand why we're performing these missions since we're still fresh genin, but don't you think we've done enough D ranks to earn us at least a C rank mission, don't you think? Naruto sought to emphasize Ino's remarks in a courteous way. Hiruzen questioned, what do you think, Asuma-kun? Do you believe your kids are ready for a C rank? Well, in the last 3 months, we've finished 79 D ranks, Asuma said. They usually require at least 50 D ranks to achieve a C rank, which they have, and I can safely state that they are ready. Not to brag, but I taught them well, and they are a really skilled set of young shinobis, Asuma added proudly. Very good then. Hiruzen agrees. Hokage-sama, are you sure? Well, I have no doubts about their talents or Asuma training. They are still quite young for a mission beyond the village. Iruka expressed worry about his former pupils. They'll have to do it someday, Iruka, Hiruzen tells the scarred Chunin, and I believe Asuma-kun will keep them safe. Don't worry, Iruka-sensei, I swear we'll be cautious, Naruto adds confidently, as if to assuage the terrified Chunin's fears. Now, I have one C-rank mission for you to do. Hiruzen says as he pulls out one mission scroll. The mission is requested by the Wasabi family, from the land of tea, and it is about the annual Todoroki Shrine race, which will begin in 2 days, and it will take at least a day to arrive in the land of tea. Hiruzen informed. Naruto inquired, who are we escorting? Hiruzen just said, I don't know. Ino inquired, what do you mean you don't know, Hokage-sama? They have a dedication ceremony at the Great Todoroki Shrine once every 4 years in the neighboring nation of the Land of Tea, and we've received a request to escort the runner who will participate in the race that will be held there, but an assailant from the opponent's side attacked the messengers before they arrived here, Hiruzen explained. Asuma inquired, assailant. Were they able to identify them? The messengers weren't sure, but they think it was a shinobi, Hiruzen said. But if that's the case, this task might be raised to an A rank if you see any. Shikamaru said, forgive me, Hokage-sama, but I still don't comprehend this task. You should acquire the specifics straight from the Wasabi family's head, Jiracho, Hiruzen said, and I encourage you to go immediately for the land of tea, since time is of the importance. Yes, Hokage-sama, Team 10 agreed, bowing respectfully. Asuma advised his staff, I'll allow you guys an hour to go home and gather all the basics you need for a 1-week excursion, then meet me at the village gate when you're done. Hiruzen wishes them all the best of luck. 1 hour later, the village gate. Naruto was the first to arrive, followed by Asuma, who is presently having a smoke beneath the shade while resting against a tree. As the two waited for the rest of their team to arrive, Asuma decided this was the perfect opportunity to finally speak with his blonde pupil. Asuma abruptly said, what are you not telling me, Naruto? Asuma-sensei, what do you mean? Pardon me if I'm harsh, but Dad informed me you already know about your burden. The elite Jonin noted Naruto's careless response. Yes, I do. Look, I want you to know that I'm not one of those oblivious jerks. I actually like you, kiddo, and even I can tell the difference between a prison and a prisoner, but I only see you as Naruto. And don't tell the others, but I think you're my second favorite student, Asuma confessed with a warm smile. Second favorite? Naruto exclaimed, smirking. Geez, I wonder who is the lucky one to be the first, possibly a certain lazy Nar, he speculated. Despite that, Asuma-sensei, you're a great instructor, Naruto responded. I'm not really a good man, kiddo. Specifically, I'm not really a good son. After my mother died, I had a disagreement with Dad. We argued a lot, and eventually, it led me to leave the village for a while to pursue my own personal interests. But to this day, I still remember how hurt Dad was when I left, Asuma said, his voice tinged with guilt. I see, do you have any regrets? Naruto said. Of course, kiddo, Asuma remarked, but it wasn't all for nothing. I got to be a member of the 12 Guardian Ninja, and I made a wonderful buddy with a monk named Chiriku. Plus, I managed to earn my reputation as one of Konoha's elite ninjas. Hell, I even have a 35 million Ryo bounty on my head. 35 million, who did you piss off? Naruto exclaimed, surprised to learn that his sensei was most likely in every bounty hunter's bingo book. Hahaha, Naruto, it's a black market bounty. Plus, I've made a lot of enemies over the years, so it's anyone's guess to put it up right now. But, I'm a bit proud, huh? The more I'm worth, the more badass I am, right? Asuma stated with a smug grin. With a deadpan expression, Naruto said, why do I believe that bounty could get you murdered someday? With a laid-back tone, Asuma remarked, oh come on kiddo, you're just being worried. We're here. We're here. Sorry we're late. Exclaimed Ino, panting, as she and Shikamaru approached the village gate. With a heavy groan, Shikamaru muttered, apparently our mothers won't stop worrying us about the potential hazards beyond the village. What a nuisance. Well, you're here now, so that's all that counts. The land of tea is a 1-day journey, but let's see if we can get there sooner. Let's go, Asuma stated as he led his group out of Konoha's gates. Yeah. Finally. A mission outside the village. Said Ino, relieved that they had finally left their home. Shikamaru muttered, tiredly, troublesome, it's going to be a long week. Are you thrilled, Naruto-kun? This is our first trip out of the village. Ino said of her blonde companion. You bet, Naruto teased his lover, and don't worry, I'll keep you all safe, and I'll personally make sure to keep you warm at night. Ino blushed profusely as a result of this, pondering how he can keep her warm. You need to quit hanging out with Anko, kiddo, Asuma advised, knowing how insane she could be at times, and how much she enjoyed the torture. She's not that bad after you get to know her. Very well, Naruto said. Since becoming a genin, he and Anko have shared a bed every night. They would do it every day, till Anko became exhausted and fell asleep, and some of her clothes were even at his home. They then started their journey to the tea land. As Team 10 made their way to their client's house, they came upon a little tea house nearby. They decided to go there for lunch and a break before continuing on. Ino couldn't help but notice Naruto was reading a scroll closely as they walked, so she decided to inquire. Asuma-sensei, is the land of tea important to Konoha? Ino asked. It has its values, but I'm not into economy and politics to know more about the importance of it, Asuma answered, not knowing much about that kind of stuff. Actually is, Naruto suddenly said as he read a scroll. Land of Tea is located south of Land of Fire, but unlike us, doesn't have its own military village. The same is for many other lands spread around Konoha, Kumo, Suna and Iwa. These places are key factors to the economy of whatever village they're allied to. For example, Land of Tea has been allies with Konoha since the days of Hashirama Senju. Land of Tea is surrounded by sea except to the north side. Their food is mostly fish, or any other food, fruit or vegetables related to the sea. Because of how close it is to the sea, the temperature are always high. Actually, the last time snow fell in Land of Tea was over 50 years ago, and that happened during the long winter that lasted 5 months, resulting in many people in minor villages to die from the cold. Back to the Land of Tea, their deal with Land of Fire is to supply them with fish and different kind of food that can be found only in the Land of Tea. Not only that, but Land of Tea also supplies Konoha with water and medicine plants like lilac, which can cure many diseases, and even used against different type of poison. The water we get from Land of Tea is also cleared by using a seal made by Mito Uzumaki. The salty water of the sea can be turned into sweet water, used for everything that water is used for. Because of this, every time Land of Tea needs something done, whenever is D rank or S rank, the price is always 50% cheaper. Naruto explained much to the shock of everyone, including Asuma, who didn't understand why Naruto would be interested in economy and allies of the village. Hey Naruto, if the Land of Tea is so important to Konoha, why didn't I would try to attack it first? Ino asked curiously, knowing about the war. Because of where it's located, except Kirigakure, none of the other big villages have naval ships to conquer the seas. To enter Land of Tea, you first need to pass through Land of Fire, Naruto explained. Indeed, or maybe the old man Inoki thought himself stronger than he actually was, therefore he attacked Land of Fire directly, Asuma added, smoking from his cigarette before breathing out the smoke. Maybe, but important to the Leaf Village is also the Common Land, located east of Konoha. The land itself is one of the most important lands of Land of Fire. Everything is grown through those lands, wheat flour, and everything else, sheep, cows, and different animals are grown around the Common Land, producing enough food to feed an entire country, all that land. And the entirety of Land of Fire is ruled by daimyo, and Konoha is the one that guards it. If the Land of Fire was a human body, then the Common Land would be the blood, Land of Tea would be the muscles, and Konoha would be the brain and heart. Take out Konoha and we are defenseless. Take out Common Land and we will starve. Take out Land of Tea and we run out of medicine and water. Naruto finished his explanation. Asuma couldn't fathom how Naruto knew all of this. The academy didn't taught them that. Sure, he could have grabbed a book in the library, but why would a shinobi be interested in economy and all that? Or perhaps I'm just overthinking, Asuma thought, deciding to ignore it. After all, Naruto was just a curious child, and there was nothing wrong with it. Shikamaru smiled at Naruto's explanation, but himself wondered why Naruto, a shinobi, be interested in economy. This is troublesome. I wonder how soon it even survives then. Where do they get the food? But Naruto was thinking something else. He always wondered how Yuzashigakure was destroyed in the first place. Yuzashigakure was located very far into the ocean. Anyone would need a ship to reach Yuzashigakure. Not only that, but sometimes during the day, the whole area around Yuzashigakure would be filled with whirlpools that would sink every ship that approached. Knowing that, Kiri had naval ships, but from where did Kumo and Iwa get their naval ships to attack Yuzashigakure? The only place in the whole continent that builds ships is Land of Tea and Kiri, so who provided Iwa and Kumo with ships? One could argue that they could have just walked the sea using their chakra, but the distance between land and Yuzashigakure was over 100 kilometers. Only Kage Shinobi or higher would have enough chakra to walk from land to Yuzashigakure without running out of chakra. Not mentioning, Kiri, Iwa and Kumo knew when to attack to avoid whirlpools, and the only people who knew when it was safe were Uzumaki clan, the High Council of Konoha, and the High Council of Land of Tea, since they used to exchange goods, like special kind of wood, minerals, and weeds that could be found only in Yuzashigakure. Naruto had questions. Who provided the 3 big villages with information when whirlpools weren't there, and who provided Kumo and Iwa wish ships? Why was his mother sent to Konoha to be used as Jinchuriki, and only 1 week later, Yuzashigakure is destroyed? Later, when the 4 Konoha shinobi sat down at their table, they ordered their meals and drinks right away. Naruto requested sweet bean soup, Ino requested dumplings, and Shikamaru requested just jelly. Asuma had just placed an order for the shop's specialty tea, and asked if he might light up his cigarette. However, the tea house has a no-smoking policy, which makes the elite weep a bit inside. But, unknown to the four, a young guy sitting across from them, who was gritting his teeth and gazing daggers at them the instant he noticed their headbands. "Ninja from the hidden leaf," the young guy said, his voice tinged with hate. As he stood up, the young guy walked gently up to the table of the four-leaf shinobis to speak his bit. With a smug tone, the young guy added, "Having sweet bean soup while it's so pleasant outdoors. The ninja profession really is carefree today. What are you trying to say?" Naruto queried the stranger, his eyes narrowing. "Things must be pretty tranquil in Leaf Village, judging by the thick-looking folks like you all," the young man replied, his grin widening even further. "Alright, friend, I'm going to ask you to go right now," Naruto stated calmly. He was no longer bothered by petty remarks from dumb individuals. "Who the heck do you think you are?" said Ino. When the young guy observed Ino, "Hey, I didn't realize there was such a sweetie here. I take back my prior statement. Thank you," Ino murmured, blushing slightly at the flattery. "I'm Idate Morino," the now identified Idate adds seductively as he continues to flirt with the gorgeous platinum blonde female. "What's your name, young lady?" "Morino. Isn't that?" Asuma wondered, since the surname was one he recognized. "Ino," she said hesitantly. "Ino, huh? That's a lovely name," Idate adds with a smile. "Well, since destiny has brought us together, isn't it time we spoke about our future?" "And what is that future?" Ino inquired, eager to hear his response. "I'm talking about you abandoning the ninja life and marrying me," Idate adds with a seductive grin, causing the Yamanaka girl to flush even more at the unexpected bold proposal. But she suddenly realized who she was sitting next to, and the flush vanished as she felt the chill. Ino sensed something was wrong as the air became noticeably cooler. Even Asuma and Shikamaru felt it, but couldn't figure out where it originated from. Then they realized Naruto was surrounded by a massive shadow, and a little trace of his killing intent was being discharged. However, the blonde was able to maintain his composure, else he would have risked wrecking the lovely tea house. "Yeah, Idate was it. I may not seem so, but I am a reasonable guy, so I'll give you 10 seconds to walk away from Ino before I chop your balls off and throw them down your mouth and make you swallow them," Naruto stated calmly. "Oh my gosh, is Naruto-kun jealous? Why do I find it so appealing when he becomes too rough of me? Is this normal?" Ino pondered, puzzled. Idate, on the other hand, sneered at the threat. "Don't worry, I'm only joking, but the rest of it isn't a joke. If there's one thing I can't abide, it's a ninja. If you keep roaming about the land of tea, there will be problems," Idate remarked with venom in his voice. "Are you threatening us, boy?" Asuma said, eventually raising his voice in a solemn tone. Threats were one of the things that the elite jonin despised. "Like I said, a simple caution," Idate smugly said. "Well, we don't take simple warnings from skinny dickheads," Naruto stated calmly. "So, if I were you, I'd scram before I enforce my first warning on you." For the insult, Idate stared fiercely at Naruto. He wondered who this young blonde kid thought he was. Ino murmured softly to her blonde partner, "Calm down, Naruto-kun. She's correct. Just ignore the obnoxious punk." "We don't have time," Shikamaru replied, his voice bored. "I'll do it once." "Whoa, where did he go?" Naruto exclaims as he discovers Idate has disappeared totally. "Ha. Gone," Ino said, stunned by Idate's speed. "There's no way. I was completely oblivious to it. I'm not sure whether I'm rusty or that child is simply very quick," Asuma pondered. "Sigh. And here I was expecting to at least punch that jerk in the face," Naruto said, dejected. With a loving grin, Ino remarked, "Oh Naruto, you're so sweet when you're jealous. Don't worry, you know you're the only one for me." The waitress then arrived with their orders and handed them their bill. But to their surprise, she offered them 2 bills. As she walks away from the table, the waitress replies, "I'll collect them when you're done." "Wait. Why 2 bills?" Asuma said. "Yours and your young buddy who just departed, who stated you guys would pay for him." The waitress said. "That son of a bitch," said Ino. "Naruto, can you locate him?" Shikamaru begged his blonde closest buddy. Naruto stepped out of his chair and knelt on the ground, saying, "On it. I know where he is, but he's traveling fast. We need to get moving immediately if we want to catch up. From what I can see, he's fairly far away." Naruto said solemnly. "That no good jerk. He think he can make a fool out of us?" Ino exclaims, her eyes bright with rage. "Let's go catch him so I drown in the sea. Not until I burn him and rip him up into shreds." Naruto exclaims, returning the wicked grin with her own. They also exchanged a little evil chuckle which made Shikamaru's palms to sweat, as he worried about his blonde colleague's violent inclinations. Shikamaru sighed tiredly. "I knew this was going to be a lengthy assignment." The Genin 3 then hurried out of the tea house, leaving just their jonin instructor to pay the bill, which he grumbled under his breath. I'm afraid we have to go now, ma'am. My pupils can be a bit eager at times. Thank you very much for the dinner. I'll leave the money here on the table," Asuma remarked as he walked slowly to where his students left, believing that this wasn't a pressing matter, and that he could take his time. Area of Force. As the Genin 3 hurriedly pursued the ninja-hating Dine and Dasher, Asuma walked after them at his own leisurely pace. That person has tremendous speed. He must have spent years training his legs to be able to cover this distance in such a short amount of time, Naruto observed. Shikamaru inquired. Who the heck is he anyway? It doesn't matter, Ino said. We're definitely going to catch up to him. Idate was speeding through the forest like there was no tomorrow. Stupid ninja. I'll be miles away from those losers before they can even get started, Idate stated, smugly. However, as he continued to run at maximum speed, he stumbled on a root and was sent plummeting from a cliff, unaware that his pocket knife had dropped from his grasp. Before hitting the ground, he was able to halt his fall by colliding against a tree limb. All the speed in the world won't help if I don't keep an eye on where I'm going, Idate scolded himself. Idate then leaps off the limb and lands on his feet on the ground. He didn't understand, however, that he was surrounded by 2 enraged genins and 1 bored genin. I agree, but that will not be important. Once I break both your legs, Ino said, releasing part of her murderous fury. Idate glanced up and saw the furious platinum blonde girl on his left, Shikamaru on his right, and Naruto in front of him, standing on a tree limb. He was totally encircled. You have a lot of audacity to piss these 2 off, but it was because of you that I had to run, so now you piss me off, Shikamaru grumbled. Did you honestly think you could get away with it? We're ninjas, whether you like it or not, and we were trained to catch punks like you, so I hope you're ready for what's coming next, Ino said, cracking her knuckles, and indicating that she's about to beat the living hell out of a dasher in front of him. Idate clenched his teeth, knowing that there was only one thing he could do now to rescue himself. Idate shouted, I'm sorry, as he knelt and bent his head in humiliation. Ha! Said the Genin 3, startled by the unexpected show of timidity. They then leapt off their limbs and landed near Idate. I had my wallet stolen and was at a loss, and then you guys stepped up, and I didn't know what else to do, Idate said, almost pleading for mercy. Are you kidding? All your money? Ino inquired, her voice tinged with sorrow. Why didn't you just say oh? Naruto yelped in agony as something landed on his head, but he caught it before it went to the ground. It was a pocket knife, to be precise. What is this? Naruto wondered, staring at the knife in awe. When Idate lifted his head off the ground, he discovered it was his prized pocket knife. And it's being held by someone other than him. Don't touch it. Give it to me. Idate's timidity morphed into rage as he hurriedly attempted to reclaim Naruto's pocket knife. Naruto, on the other hand, had quicker reflexes than the idiot runner, and was able to evade all of his frantic clutches, which finally evolved into violent blows. Hey! Quit it. I'm warning you. Naruto exclaimed angrily, in between dodges and blocks, in response to Idate's unexpected hostility. All of this for a useless pocket knife. Naruto is growing more enraged with the older boy in front of him. Who is he to be enraged by him? That is mine. Give it back or I'll. Idate couldn't complete his statement before being knocked out cold by a swift haymaker punch from the Uzumaki. Naruto-kun, said Ino, stunned by the unexpected knockout strike. What? The jerk went insane and attacked me because I was carrying his pocket knife. Nice workmanship, however, Naruto observed as he examined the apparently custom-made weapon. Maybe that's why Idate was so desperate to have it back. Alright, we accomplished what we came for, right? We hunted him down, and you struck him in the face. Can we go now? Shikamaru said, his voice bored. Yeah, Asuma-sensei isn't far away, and he's on his way to the Wasabi family's property right now, so let's go catch up with him, Naruto remarked. Ino said, what are you planning to do with the pocket knife? I'm not a thief, even if I really enjoyed the handle's design. But I'm going to leave him a letter. Something to remind him what will happen if he crosses us again, Naruto stated with a wicked grin that gave both Ino and Shikamaru shivers. Asuma-sensei is correct, Naruto-kun. You really need to quit hanging out with Anko, Ino added, her face flushed with the realization that her boyfriend's girlfriend has a negative influence on him. Anko shouldn't hear you say Thar, she's a lot of fun to be around, Naruto replied. Later, Idate had a black eye and a severe headache when he woke. The last thing he recalled was the blonde ninja guy punching him in the face because he was clutching his. Where has my knife gone? Idate saw his pocket knife close by. Its blade protrudes from the ground downward. Idate promptly got up and rushed to get it, but then he saw the carved written message next to the knife on the ground. Hello Idate. Please accept my apologies for accidentally touching your valuable knife. I had no idea you were so strange about it. Maybe you have it to keep yourself company. Fortunately for you, I'm not a thief. But you mocked the Shinobi title, cheated your way out of your bill, and flirted with my girl. Putting that aside, since you like issuing simple warnings, I'll offer you mine. If I ever see you again, I'm going to chop your balls off with that lovely little knife of yours. You nightmare. Idate laughed off the warning as if it were a joke, but he couldn't help but feel a shiver go up his spine. He was knocked down cold by a single blow from the alleged Naruto. Imagine if he meant it when he said he was going to harm him. That concept alone was enough to make him feel frightened. Jiracho's residence in the Wasabi family compound. Team 10 has regrouped with their Jonin-sensei, and is currently in front of Jiracho, the Wasabi family's head, and their customer. Welcome, and thank you everybody for coming. I hope your journey here went well, Jiracho replies gratefully. Not at all, Jiracho-sen. We understand how important this race is to your nation. My name is Asuma Tobi, Elite Jonin, and this is my Genin team. Naruto Uzumaki, Ino Yamanaka, and Shikamaru Nar, Asuma explains as he introduces his team. At your service. Naruto greeted. With a grin, Ino responded, nice to meet you, Jiracho-san. With a leisurely wave, Shikamaru remarked, what's up? It's good to meet all of you, and it's an honor to have you here. I'm grateful for your assistance, Jiracho stated, smiling. Now that we've said our hellos, let's get down to business, Asuma said. Lord Hokage ordered us to acquire the specifics of our mission straight from you. I'm sure Lord Hokage has already told everything to you about the dedication ceremony at the Great Todoroki Shrine. That takes place every 4 years, Jiracho said, assuring them of their understanding of the issue. Yes, Naruto said, but if you could perhaps explain more, we would be grateful. Alright, please have a seat, Jiracho stated, motioning the 4 shinobis to take a seat so they could hear the explanation. It all started a long time ago. Legend has it that in order to subdue a terrible storm, the people dedicated the Ryuko's jewels to the Great Todoroki Shrine in desperation. And it worked. The storms went away, and it became a customary event that happens every 4 years. At first, it was just to dedicate the jewels. But several decades ago, it became a festival and a race. With the winner of the race. However, in recent years, what was once a friendly race has taken on a troubling aspect. For generations, the port town of Degarashi has been divided into 2 families, the Wasabi and the Wagarashi. 2 rivaling gambling organizations. Both families wanted control over the town, which naturally led to disputes. These disputes became increasingly violent, at times resulting in all-out battles. The rest of the townspeople were caught in the crossfire. Many were killed. Finally, in an attempt to break the cycle of violence, our district head called on both sides to get together and reach an agreement. From now on, control of the town will be chosen by competition, rather than street brawls, Jiracho revealed. What kind of competition is it? Ino inquired. The race is held every 4 years at the Great Todoroki Shrine dedication ceremony. 4 years ago, the Wagarashi won easily by hiring Shinobi, and we've recently learned that they've hired Shinobi again this year. That's why we sent out messengers to the Hidden Leaf village with a request for assistance, but they were ambushed and attacked, Jiracho said, his voice sad. I implore you all, Jiracho said as he bowed down to the 4 shinobi in front of him. Please contribute your strength to our family. If we lose again, the Wagarashi will retain control of our town for another 4 years, and our people will continue to suffer as a result, Jiracho urged, his voice desperation in his tone. Leave it to us, Jiracho-san. Naruto answered with a cheerful grin. Shikamaru said, so, who do you want us to accompany anyway? Jiracho smiled and clapped his hands. Excellent, so you'll accept the job then. The Wasabi family's selected runner emerged from the sliding door beside them. Yes, boss, you called for me, said the runner, who happened to be Naruto's current least favorite character, Idate Morino. Team 10 was taken aback when they discovered that the familiar punk who had tricked and fled from them was the same guy they were supposed to protect. When Idate pointed his finger at Naruto, he cried out in terror and rage, you. Naruto was taken aback, but when he recalled his vow to Idate when they left ways in the jungle, his smile transformed into an evil grin. Hello Idate. I thought I made myself plain. Now, where's your knife? Naruto said, his deadly intent for Idate revealed by his wonderfully calm tone. Idate could only gulp. Oh, so you all know each other. That makes things a lot simpler, Jiracho replied, smiling. That may not be the case, Ino sighed, her goal having just become a lot more difficult. Degarashi. Naruto and Idate are presently strolling along Degarashi Street. To clear the air between the two, Asuma believed it would be a good idea. He just hopes that Naruto does not murder the person he is supposed to protect. Boss Jiracho is a very important guy around here, Idate grumbled, and he shouldn't have to drop his head to ninjas like you. It takes a large man to bend his head to another. I have nothing but respect for Jiracho-san, but I'm having problem not murdering you. But I'm still a shinobi on duty, and whether I like it or not, I still have to escort your crappy ass, Naruto remarked, his voice tinged with hate. Idate screamed at the younger blonde lad next to him. Fine. Believe me. If I wanted an escort, it would not be some snot-nosed runt like you. For the sake of my assignment, I'm going to pretend you didn't just call me that. I'm still your bodyguard, Idate, Naruto responded angrily. Idate merely sneered, humph, sigh. Look, I guess we started off on the wrong foot. Can we just start over? For Jiracho's sake, Sans Naruto replied calmly, hoping that their quarrel would not lead them to lose the race the next day. HMPH, well. I'll do it for Boss Jiracho, but that doesn't guarantee I'll like you, Idate remarked, his tone somewhat less irritated. Likewise, Naruto answered, a delighted grin on his face. Elsewhere, Shikamaru and Ino. Ino and Shikamaru decided to have a look around the town and see what was going on. They're now on display at a nearby trinket store. They realized that most of the things are unexpectedly more pricey than their value, as they browsed the store. These rates are absurd, even if it's a tourist resort, Ino told her Nara friend. Perhaps it's a high market, Shikamaru said sloppily. However, the shopkeeper overheard their not-so-quiet talk. I'm sorry about that, even I know it's pretty pricey, the shopkeeper acknowledged to her product's dramatic overpricing. Oh no, I didn't mean. Ino apologized, hoping she hadn't offended the shopkeeper, but she didn't seem to mind. Oh, don't worry, sweetheart, we don't want to sell at these rates too, but once the Wagarashi family took control of this town. The woman shopkeeper couldn't complete her statement because they all heard a huge crash and the sound of shattered glass just outside the store. They went to investigate and saw 3 goons in the middle of the street harassing one of the town's merchants. As he kneeled on the floor in front of the 3 goons, the elderly merchant implored, "Please pardon me. How dare you? When we want something, we take it. Got it. You wouldn't even be in business if it weren't for the Wagarashi," said one of the goons, who was later shown to be a Wagarashi family member. I know. Only it's that .to take it without paying for it, is." The elderly merchant reasoned, but he was ignored. "You don't understand it, do you? Boys, go steal his things while I give him a lesson," the alleged leader said, ordering his 2 goons to plunder the shopkeeper. "No, please stop," exclaimed the elderly merchant, who attempted to stop them from taking his hard-earned goods until the leader sees his shirt collar. "Perhaps this will help you comprehend," exclaims the leader, raising his hand and attempting to hit the old merchant in the face, only to be halted by Ino, who came out of nowhere and grabbed the leader's impending fist, firmly holding it. As soon as the leader spotted the platinum blonde female, he said, "What the hell? Who are you? Why don't you and your buddies go for a hike?" Ino suggested, her tone sullen. My, what have we got here? She's quite a gorgeous little thing, isn't she?" One of the other 2 goons returned after hearing his commander shouting. He, like the other, had a wicked smile and a ravenous expression in his eyes. "Yeah, why don't you come with us, blonde, and we'll show you a wonderful time," the other thug remarked, licking his lips, clearly disgusting Yamanaka. "Well, if you want me, come get me. After all, you can take anything you want, right?" Ino challenged, disgusted. "Please get her out of there. These individuals are from the Wagarashi family, and they are dangerous, particularly to a little girl like her," implored the lady shopkeeper to Shikamaru. "Don't worry, she'll be alright, it's them who should be concerned," Shikamaru replied, a confident grin on his face. "You asked for it. Get her, boys," shouted the commander to his 2 companions. The woman shopkeeper instantly hid her face behind her hands. She couldn't stand seeing the 3 Wagarashi goons attack the adorable blonde girl. The only noises she heard were excruciating writhing and bone snapping. When she opened her eyes, she, like the rest of the audience, was taken aback by the spectacle in front of them. "You won't get away with this. We'll get you next time, lady. Don't mess with us, or you'll get what you deserve," shouted one of the 3 bruised and battered Wagarashi thugs, as he and the other thug were preparing to depart with their unconscious boss. Because she didn't enjoy the sound of threats, Ino clenched her fists loudly enough for the thugs to hear, forcing them to shriek in terror and flee as quickly as they could. "Thank you, whatever you are, young lady," the elderly merchant remarked as he humbly bent his head to the platinum blonde girl. "Look at those guys run. Now, if the Wasabi family can win the race, we'll be done with them for good," the woman shopkeeper said gleefully as she assisted the elderly merchant. "Are you all well, Ino?" Shikamaru said, concerned about his buddy. "Don't worry, Shika," Ino remarked confidently. "Those creeps aren't even worth breaking a sweat." The guest room at Jiracho's residence. Naruto, Ino, and Shikamaru are currently in Asuma's guest room, confronting him. He seemed to have something essential to say to them. "Alright, gentlemen, here's a brief mission update. I won't be accompanying you on the escort tomorrow," Asuma said. Ino inquired, "What? Why?" "Apparently, the daimyo of the land of tea has ordered me to examine the Wagarashi family, and the minister of Port Degarashi, since the daimyo feels the minister has been questionably prejudiced with the Wagarashi and suspects foul play," Asuma explained his new job to them. Shikamaru said, "So you believe this minister is assisting the Wagarashi?" Asuma lit up the cigarette in his lips and stated, "Perhaps. That is what I aim to find out. So we'll accompany Idate by ourselves," Naruto said. "Are you sure we're ready, sensei?" "Yes, I have complete faith in you 3 and your abilities, and I am confident that you will succeed. Naruto, I am appointing you as acting captain of Team 10 until my mission is completed. And a word of advice. While completing a mission is important, never jeopardize the safety of your comrades, including Idate. I hope you were able to work things out with him," Asuma advised his sunny blonde student. "Yes, sensei," Naruto answered confidently. "I will defend them all with my life. And I'll guard yours with mine," Ino responded, pledging to protect her blonde at all costs. "It's too inconvenient to die last, so I'll make sure your people are safe as well," Shikamaru replied calmly, but he meant every word. "Hahaha, you guys never fail to surprise me. Good luck tomorrow, and beware of the enemy shinobi. I assume they're from Amagakure, the hidden rain village, and they're infamous for employing senbons, as the messengers who were assaulted reported," Asuma warned his squad. "We'll be cautious, sensei," Naruto promised with a cheerful grin. "Kiri, you asked for me, Mei-sama?" A man asked respectfully. As he entered the tent, he was around his 30s, an eye patch on his right eye. Mei didn't turn to look at him, wearing a blue dress, auburn hair reaching to her middle back, red lips, blue dress that beautifully hugged her curves. She was the leader of the revolution against Jaeger. Yes, I need you to go to Land of Tea. You need to meet an informer, Mei stated, still reading the paper in her hands. But Mei-sama, I don't understand, why do I need to meet this informer? Ao asked, banging his head respectfully. Mei turned to look at him, a smirk reached her face. She knew only one who would write this letter. Because he is. Thanks for listening. I do hope you enjoyed. If you want the next part of this video, like, subscribe and comment down below, and turn on the bell notification. And also check out other videos that I have created and enjoy. See you in the next video. Peace.